All right, all right, all right. I think we are recording. Hello, everyone. Marcus Davis here. And today I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook ad, and particularly a Facebook lead ad. And this is going to be an actual ad that I'm creating for a client. It's going to be a hot list ad, what we call a hot list ad. This is a realtor client who is looking for leads from people who are interested in buying a house. So this hot list ad is an ad that's very common with a lot of agents I've worked with, and it basically offers a free list of houses in a certain area and a certain price range. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I want to mention my 3 T's of advertising. This is something that I created as a way to understand advertising, at least the most important aspects, and to make sure you think about the most important things when creating and watching your ads. My 3 T's of advertising are: the first T is targeting, the second T is testing, and the last T is tracking. And to me, those are the most important elements of successful ads. So let's go ahead and go over to Facebook. So the first thing you're going to do is log into your Facebook account, which is I've already done, and this is where you will come as soon as you log in. So to get to my advertisements, I'm going to come up in this menu section. I'm going to click this down arrow to bring up this menu. Now, if you have never created an ad before, then you will be looking for create an ad. But if you have created an ad before, like I have, then you're going to be looking for manage ads. So I'm going to click on manage ads, and you may have clicked on create an ad. So when I click on manage ads or create an ad, I'm going to be taken to the advertising accounts. Now, I'm someone who manages multiple accounts, so right now you see many accounts. But if this was your account, you would only see your one advertising account, and you would click on it. I'm looking for this client here, so I'm going to click on that name. You would just click on your name, and this would take you to what's called the Ads Manager. Okay, so now we're at the Ads Manager. These are previous campaigns that we've created. We're not interested in that right now because we're here to create a new ad. So to create a new ad, I can click on this Create button here. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the first thing you do when creating an ad is choose your objective. And your objective is basically your goal of the ad. What are you trying to accomplish with the ad? Are you trying to send traffic to a particular website or landing page? Are you trying to get leads? Are you trying to get more people to watch your video? Are you trying to get more people to know about your business or product? Whatever your goal is, or what they consider your objective, that's going to determine what type of ad you create. In our case, our client is looking to get leads. Leads, in particular, for anyone who doesn't know, means you want to collect someone's information. Most of the times, either their phone number or their email, so you can reach out to them afterwards. And if we're looking for leads, then we're limited to the options we want to choose. Now, obviously, we can select this lead generation, which is what we're going to select. But we also could select traffic, because maybe we already have a website that has forms on it to where we can collect these people's information as long as we send them there first. But we don't want to do a traffic ad in this case. We want to do a lead generation ad. The difference is this lead generation ad is going to allow us to collect the person's information, the lead's information on Facebook before ever leaving and going to whatever we offer them. In this case, we're offering a free hot list of homes in a particular area. So before they can get this free hot list, if this is a lead ad, they have to give us their information on Facebook. If we would have chosen the traffic ad, then we would be collecting the lead somewhere else, like our own website. So I could create the exact same ad that I was going to do as a lead ad, as a traffic ad, except this time to get the offer, they're going to click, go to my website, where they will have to fill out a form to get the offer on my website. So that's a major difference. So we're going to go ahead and go with lead generation. First, after you select your type of campaign, it's going to ask you to name the campaign. Generically, it has the type of campaign there. You can change that to whatever you want. When I'm creating ads for clients, I just go with B2M, which is short for my company, Back to Marketing, and then lead generation is the type of ad. Create a split test. I'm not going to select that because I'm going to do my own test. And campaign budget optimization, I'm not going to do that either because I understand what I want my budget to be and how to optimize that on my own. So I'm just going to go to continue. So there's 3 levels of ads. If we look over here to this menu to the left, we can see the 3 levels of ads. You have the campaign level, which we selected as lead generation. We have the ad set, and then we have the ad. The ad set, well, instead of talking about what it is, let's just see what it is as we go through, because all of this here, as you can see, is within the ad set. And we're just going to go through and fill things out. So the ad set name. The ad set name, all these names can be whatever you want, but you want to make it obviously something that's relevant to the ad. So with this one, we're creating hot list ads for Snellville, Grayson, and Loganville. So this one, I'm just going to say Snellville hot list, for example. That's going to be my name of this ad set. Choose the page. If this is yours, you should have that page. If you have multiple pages, you'll just click this button and go find the page that you want to run the ad through. All advertisements have to be run through a business page. This is the client. If it's your first time, you're going to be asked to accept the advertising terms. I've already done that, so it just says view terms. If you haven't done that, it will say accept terms, and there will be something you have to click on and check that you've read. Dynamic creative, I'm not going to worry about. Catalog, I'm not going to worry about. Now, if I was creating the ad from a store of products that I had or something to that effect, then I will be using a catalog. The catalog is my store that I have on Facebook that has products or services in it. So I'm going to skip over that. And now we come to the audience. So before I select the audience, I want to talk about what the audience is targeting, which is the first T of advertising. And then comes the testing. So with this audience and the placements and everything else through here, we're setting up who we're targeting with this ad. But before we target, we also want to be thinking about what we're testing. So in this case, we are testing the cities. So we're trying to find out which ad between 3 different cities will people be the most responsive to. In this case, it's Snellville, Grayson, and Loganville. So we're testing these 3 different cities to see which one the people like the most. So a true test only has one different variable. So if I understand that I'm setting up this test and we're testing a city, then everything else has to be the same. Meaning the people we target, the price point that we put in the ad, basically almost the words of the ad, except for the city. The picture, we want all those to be the same if it's a true test. The only variable that we're going to differentiate is the actual city in the ad. So here we go. I'm going to go to locations. So since we're testing Snellville, Grayson, and Loganville, I'm going to see where all of these are. So I'm going to type in Snellville. And when I spell it correctly, we'll see it pop up. So Snellville, Georgia. When you select a city, it gives you the option of creating a radius around the city or the current city only. At this time, I'm just trying to see where the 3 locations are in relationship to each other, so I can pick a good central location that encloses all of them. Because like we said, we want our audience to be the same, because the only thing that's going to be different is the city. So I'm putting in Loganville, Snellville, and Grayson to see where they're at. They should be relatively close to each other. It's a bunch of Graysons, so I'm going to look for Georgia. Grayson, Georgia. See here? Click on that. And if we put them on city only, then we can see where they are. So if I click on this minus sign, right now I'm on the map. So if I click on this minus sign, then I can come out a little further. Over here is Atlanta. This is inside the perimeter. And we're out here in Gwinnett County. I see they're all close to each other. So what I want to do is we have the option of dropping a pin. So up here, I can select cities, I can select zip codes or congressional districts. But this time, I want to do a pin drop because I'm trying to encompass all of these places. So what I'm going to do is select this pin drop. You see it gives me this right here. And I'm going to put it in the middle of all 3 of my locations. Now when I put it in the middle, this pin drop also gives me a radius. So that's what I want, because I want to encompass all of these areas, because my audience has to be the same for me to know which ad they actually like best or which city they're more responsive to right now. So now I'm deleting the cities. So now I only have the pin drop that I did. And now it's set to 10 miles. You could do, hey, they didn't used to have a 1 mile radius, but now they do. Used to be 10 to 50 miles, but now it looks like you can do 1 mile all the way up to 50 miles. So what you want to look at, every time you make a change, your audience size over here changes. So right now with a 1 mile radius, with the audience that we have selected, we can reach potentially 19,000 people. That's not nearly enough. So let's see what it is at 10 mile radius. Normally I use a 10 to 20 mile radius, depending on the amount of people within the area. So at 10 miles, we can see we have 500,000, over 500,000 people in the target area. Anything over 70, 80,000 people is generally an okay number. When you start getting under 40, 50,000, 60,000, your numbers are kind of low. The lower your potential reach is, the more it's going to cost to reach those people, and the harder it will be to show your ads to more people. The more people in your audience, the easier it is to show your ad to more people, and generally, the little less it costs to reach those people. Because more people you have, less competition also. So for now, this is in my acceptable range, so I'm going to keep going. Oh, here's another thing. I want to change this. So this on location, this is an option. This says everyone in this location. I never want to do that. Almost always, I'm going to change that to people who live in this location. And the reason being is I don't want to catch people who are traveling or visiting family or what have you. So by putting people who live in this location, I'm looking for people who are in this area who want to buy a house in this area. So notice how that changed. We were at over 500,000 people potentially reached in our target audience, and now it's only 250,000. So as I said, everything changes. This also, our potential, this is an estimate of what we can expect, and it's only an estimate. This is not telling us exactly how many leads we're going to get. It's just an estimate. So look how that changes also. You see what I mean? Generally, when you have more, this is what I mean by generally, when you have more people, you'll tend to reach more people. So at 500,000, this was up to 2.5 thousand people reached per day and up to about 17 leads per day. When I switched it here, this number actually increased while this one decreased slightly. Let's take a look at that one more time. So here's 2.5, 800 plus to 2.5, 4 to 17. Here, it's 900 plus to 2,700 plus. So we still have a good amount of people in our range. And this time, it actually increased slightly when we made the change. So far, so good. Age range. We don't want to target 18-year-olds because 18-year-olds typically aren't buying houses. So when we run these type of ads, we generally, and of course this is agreed upon with the client, and they could tell you what age group they want. But if they don't, then we're just going to go with 25 by default for this type of ad, 25 and up. Here I could limit it to a certain age, but I'm not going to. So the last option is 65 and over. So this is basically 25 and up. This is how I would change the gender, but I don't want to. I want to target everyone. This is language. I'm going to put in English because my client doesn't speak any other languages, while there are definitely many other languages spoken in the Atlanta area. So again, every change I do makes a difference. So now we're down to 200,000 people in our potential audience that we can potentially reach with this ad. And this hasn't changed too much. So here we go. We've basically done the location of where we want to target people, the age, gender, and language. So this part right here is very important. Now that we've chosen those things, we can do what they're calling detailed targeting. And we can include people who match any of these type of qualities that we want, and we can exclude anyone that we want to exclude. based on their job, based on things that they like, whatever Facebook allows you to show interest in or to mark yourself as is in here potentially. So let's just look at browse so we can see some of the different things. So we got demographics, interests, and behaviors are your categories. If I click on demographics, I can see all the different things that they allow me to target by category. If I click on interests, it's many different interests, as you're probably aware of if you use Facebook yourself, and behaviors. Many different behaviors also. So this is where really the magic can happen. And this is where you can save yourself a lot of money or lose a lot of money, because this is where you're putting in the people who are more likely to be interested in your ad or not. Now, I can just run the ad like this and not even mess with this, but that's going to leave a lot of people in my potential reach for this ad that I know don't want to see the ad if I just think about it hard enough. So let's start with the exclusion. My client's a realtor looking for buyers. So can you guess who she doesn't want to see the ad? Who do we want to exclude since we're creating an ad for a realtor? Well, of course, any other realtors. So I'm going to look up anything that could have to do with someone identifying themselves as a realtor. And I'm going to select that. Now I've just put in realtor so I can quick search through the options. What you want to notice is over here to the right. So you have what the actual options are here, and then you have over here if they're an interest. Right here we only have interest, but it could say employment, which is what we're more interested in. We don't want to exclude people who are interested in real estate. We want to exclude real estate agents. So this time I'm going to try real estate. Now notice over here, this time we don't just have our interests. We have interests, we have job titles, we have employers. We got fields of study. And that looks like the only things we have. But I think that's most of the options. Can be a job title, an employer, field of study, or interest. So we're looking for the people whose job title is realtor or something to that effect. So right here we see job titles, real estate broker. I'm selecting that. Going back in because I saw more. Real estate. Every time I select one, that option should disappear. So now real estate associate, I'm going to select that. Real estate manager, I'm selecting that. And looks like there's another one, just checking to see if I have to come back. And real estate agent broker. Which brings me to another term. A broker. Come on. Oh, there we go. So a mortgage broker. Not the same as a realtor, but they definitely might be a realtor, and they definitely have realtors on their team. So we don't want them to see the ad either. Licensed realtor. So licensed real estate broker. Job title. That's the one I want. So these are all different ways that people are saying the same thing. All different ways that people are saying I'm a real estate agent. So I want to try to think of every type of way that someone I don't want to see the ad could identify themselves. And whatever that could be, I'm going to look for it and I'm going to add it to this section of excluding people that I don't want to see the ad. That's pretty good. Now, inclusions. Now, inclusions could be, let's say, that real estate example. So maybe I want to include people who are interested in real estate. Or maybe I want to include people who are interested in real estate development. Depending on what type of ad I'm running and who I'm targeting, I want to spend some real time thinking about who would be more likely. It could be people who work at certain companies. It can be people who are interested in certain things. But who would be more likely interested in what we want? In this case, I'm not going to select any because I want to leave the audience wide. So, for example, in this part right here, when you start putting people in who you want to include, you have to go all of the way and think of everything because you're going to limit this reach. So let's just see, for example, say I want to select people who are interested in real estate. Let's see what that does to this 200,000 potential people in our advertising. Do you see how that took my 200,000 all the way down to 61,000? And this is what I mean by if you want to do the inclusions, then you really have to think of as many things that you want to do at that time and put them all in so you can get your audience to be a reasonable size. But let's say, for your sake, that this was what I wanted to do, and this dropped this down to 60,000 after I thought of everything that I wanted to be in this space. Well, what I would do at that point is I would just go back up here and I would increase the range. 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. I would do it however much it took to get this back to 80,000 or 100,000 or, somewhere in this range. 60,000 is not too bad, but any lower than 60,000 I would think is a too small audience, and I would try to expand a little bit more so I can make sure that we have enough people. In this case, I don't want to put any limits on who's included. I just want to make sure that realtors don't see it. So we're going to leave that wide net of 200,000+ people. This option here says expand to detailed targeting. This is something that Facebook can do automatically. I never select this. If you're not experienced with advertising, then you may want to select that. But again, if you're going to learn how to do it and you're going to track and you're going to follow some advice, then that's something you don't need to do if you understand how to do the tracking. Connections. This is another way that I could specify certain people to see the ad. So I could run this to people who like the page or friends of people who like the page. I could exclude people who like the page if they're in my category or any of that. In this case, I don't want to do that. And then finally, it asks if I want to save the audience. In this case, I do, because I'm testing this same audience with other ads that I'm going to create. And I recommend that you always save your audiences, just in case you want to use them at a later time. You won't have to recreate them. Also, even if you want to use an audience that's even similar, then it's easier and faster to start with an audience that you already have created and make the changes from there. Audience name, you can name it what you want. I typically name it something relevant to make me remember who the audience is. Here I'll say 3 cities tests. In Gwinnett County. And it looks like Grayson is still there. Let's see if we can double check that. Here it only shows okay, so maybe Grayson is not still there. On our map it was showing Grayson also on the audience. So that's cool. So now we're going to continue on. We've created our audience. We've saved it. 3 cities test in Gwinnett County. It shows our details. If we made a mistake or wanted to edit that, we can just click this button. Now on the placements. Placements is the actual places that your ads show. And you have many options. I'm going to click edit placements just to show you the options. But you see here Facebook recommends that you do automatic placements, and generally I recommend that too, unless you have prior knowledge that these won't work for some reason. But generally you don't know that until you try it. So look at all these different places our ad can show. Facebook newsfeed, Instagram newsfeed, Facebook Marketplace. Just multiple options. If I want, I can check and select any of these things that I want. But as I said, I'm not going to do that. I just want to do automatic placements. And I want the ad to show everywhere. The reason being, like I said, is we don't know generally how it's going to perform until we do it. That's why testing is so important, because results that we got last month or on a previous campaign may not be the same. It's actually likely to not be the same, even if you're creating the same ad a month later. Things will likely be different as far as your results. That brings us to the budget and schedule. Of course, this is important. So my client has informed me that her budget for the month for this particular ad is $150. We have 2 ways of doing the budget. We can do a daily budget or a lifetime budget. If you want your ad to run ongoing and you want to stop it when you want to stop it, then you want to go with the daily budget. If you only want your ad to run for a certain amount of time, or if you know for sure you only want to spend a certain amount and that's it, then you go with the lifetime budget. In this case, we're doing ongoing advertising at $150 a month, which equals roughly $5 a day. So I know my client has a daily budget of $5, but we're creating a test ad also. We know we need to test Snellville, Grayson, and Loganville, but we're going to just do 2 of those at a time. And the reason in this case is because our budget is low relatively to some other budgets, and we don't want to put, generally I don't like to do less than $5 a day, and that's what I recommend on any ad, which this will ultimately have. But right now we're in the testing process and we're trying to see which ad will be better of these 3 ads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the budget between 2 ads that I'm going to run at a time. So first I'm going to split test 2 of them against each other. I'll choose the one out of those 2 that perform the best, and then I'll test the 3rd one. And then I'll compare the 3, and we'll choose the one that performs the best, And at that point, we'll place the entire $5 a day onto that ad. So I hope that makes sense. You see, when I changed the budget, my estimated results changed. So now they're saying we can reach this many people, because at first this was $20. So now this is $2.50. So we still have the same potential reach as far as our total audience. This is our total audience. This is not how many people our ad is actually going to show to. This is how many people our ad could show to. This is how many people Facebook is estimating at this budget our ad will actually show to each day. And then they're estimating that we'll get less than 10 leads per day. This should be on this. I could set a start and end date. I don't want to. I'll stop it when my client wants it to be stopped. So I'm going to put run my ad continuously starting today. You'll spend no more than $17.50 a week. They're just giving you a total of what you're doing by setting that. This is just saying that we want to do a schedule. If we didn't select to start an end date, then we won't have the option of doing a schedule. So basically, we're through the ad set now. One more time, the ad set, we had the ad name, we selected the page, we selected the audience, we selected the placement, which is where the ad is going to show, and the budget. And those are all things that are always done in the ad set, part of creating the ad. So now I can hit continue. And now we're, as you can see here, now we're in the advertising part. And this is where we actually create what people are going to see, the ad. So up here we have to name everything. I'll say Snellville Hotless, or even better, this time I'll say Snellville under 300K. So our price point that will be the same with all of these advertisements is that we're offering a free list of homes under 300,000. And as we said before, everything has to be the same except for what we're testing. And in this case, we're testing the city. So this is Snellville under 300,000. We'll have one that's Grayson under 300,000, and we'll have one that's Loganville under 300,000. Instagram account. If I have an Instagram account and it's connected to my Facebook account, then I can select the actual page. If I don't, you don't have to worry about it. Your ad will still show on Instagram. It will just be a page that Facebook creates just in the case to show your ad. Here we get to choose the format: single image or video, carousel. In this case, we're going with a single image. For those who don't know, video is by far the best type. And carousel, I believe, is the second. But carousel is more for it's for showing multiple pictures of something. We just want to show one picture because we're wanting to test the cities. And here we could also be testing the pictures with the carousel ad. We don't want to have any other things that's distracted from our test. So here we get to the image, and everything's telling us what we need. It tells us the size, the recommended size of the image, file type, all of that. So crop image, 6 replacements. So using this image, I don't want this image. That's an image that's come from my client account. I don't want to use that image because I have already selected an image that I'm going to use for this ad. So I'm going to click on upload images. I'm going to go find the image for this ad. These are all pictures that are already pre-sized to fit this advertisement because I've created so many. And I have houses in Snellville, and the one I've selected for this ad is actually a house in Snellville. Could have been a house in any area. Could have been a house in any of the 3 cities, Snellville, Loganville, or Grayson. But as long as it looks like a house that could be in those different places, then we'd be good to go. I'm going to click on crop image, even though I shouldn't have to. Oh, I was going to say, why is this image this size? So here, this is new also. Square, horizontal, original. Facebook is always changing things and updating things. So that's one of many reasons that you have to stay on top of things and have to stay studying. So it was on this by default. I clicked it to horizontal. My image is the perfect size, so I don't have to adjust. But if it did, then I could. And I'm just going to put that back on that. 1200 by 628. Okay, we know our picture is good. This is a way that I can change the picture in the different places that people will see it. Okay, and now I'm here to where I will actually create the ad and what people will see in the ad. Let's pull up the ad. Let's give you a quick look at a hot list ad. This is a hot list ad. It offers a free list of homes in a specific place at a specific price point or price range. And then you just tell us that it offers the list. What's in the list. You provide a sense of urgency, which is what this line is, and you tell them to click. So we're just going to recreate that kind of ad. Free list includes pictures, address, and price. If you notice, as we type things in, we actually see the live changes being made to what people will actually see. Now I'm going to look for a different file that has some emojis on it, so I can just throw a couple of emojis in. We see the difference, makes it stand out a little more. All right, and trying to get all those words to stay on the same line. Without compromising what we're saying while saying the same thing. There we go. So our headline, ironically, is not at the top of the advertisement. Our headline, which we'll see in a second, goes at the bottom. And I'm just going to generally repeat what I had put at the top of the ad. All right. So right now, I want you to notice this. This says mobile news feed. So what this is showing me is what people will see if they see the ad on a cell phone. If I click that button, I can see all of the different placements that my ad can potentially show. So if I wanted to see what people would see on their desktop, I just click the desktop. You notice that it's arranged slightly differently, and the size is totally different. Instant articles. Every placement or place that your ad can show may look a little different. What you want to maximize for is what people will see the most. By default, it's typically on mobile news feed, and that's good because most people by far will see your advertisement on a cell phone because most people happen to access their social media platforms via cell phone. Description is optional. These are both optional. I'm not going to put a description, but I do want to put a headline basically every time. Display link. This could display the site if I wanted it to. In this case, I don't. And then call to action. This is the button that's on the ad. So see here it says sign up. I want that to say learn more. You could want it to say whatever you want under here. Get offer, get quote. For this case, get offer may be good, or learn more may be good. In fact, let's switch that to get offer. That is basically it for this section here. So we've created what people will actually see on the ad. So this next section is asking us to create a form. Now, these forms are unique to lead ads. And as I said, the lead ad is the only type of ad on Facebook where you will collect their information on Facebook. So we also have to create the pages where they will give us their information. So I need to create a new form, but to make it maybe slightly faster, I'm just going to duplicate a form that I already have. No, I'm not, because you may not be able to duplicate a form. So I'm just going to click new form because you may likely have to create a new form. And we'll call this Snellville. Matter of fact, we'll call it Snellville under 300K to be more specific. I'm going to come to settings. This is something I always change. By default, it's on restricted. What this means is that only the people that are in your who you're targeting can see this ad. I just about always choose open. And what this means is the people who we choose to show the ad to can share the ad with someone else and they can actually fill it out. Because that person they share the ad with, for whatever reason, may not be in our target audience. But I would like to think, and it makes sense, that if someone that you're targeting shares the ad with someone, then they're likely sharing it with someone who's interested or who they think would be interested. Intro, I generally turn this off. You see the options here for if you do choose an intro. I turn this off because it's basically just one more hoop that the potential lead would have to go through. And we don't want to have extra hoops because the more steps that they have, and generally, the less likely that some people will be to do it. So, okay, I was going to say this is changed to how this looks. But we definitely want the email, the name, and the phone number. So I'm going to add a new question. You see our different options. As I said, this has changed. It's just been updated on the way that it looks. But we can ask for any of these bits of information that we want. In this case, we want the name, the phone number, and the email, which is what we're saying constitutes a lead in our case. I can put them, as you see, in any order that I want. I'm just going to leave it in name, phone number, email. Now it's asking for my privacy policy. You definitely want to have a privacy policy. So I'm going to go to my client's website and find the link to her privacy policy. And generally, it's at the bottom of the page for many sites. Okay, so I clicked on privacy. This is her privacy page. So all I'm going to do is take this URL of that page, and I'm going to copy that. And where it asks for link URL, which you see here, if you can see that, it says required, I'm going to paste that. So that is the link to her actual privacy policy. I don't want to add additional customer disclaimer, because as I said before, I want to add the least amount of things and hoops for the potential lead to jump through as possible. Last thing is our thank you screen. So first we determined what we asked them, and we actually forgot the headline. So we did our, we put in the name, email, phone number. In the headline, I'm just going to reiterate what the offer was. So yes, I would like a free hot list of, let's word it the same way. Yes, I would like a free hot list of Snellville homes for sale under 300,000. As you see, as I'm typing over here, is just like it was when I was creating the ad. It's showing me in real time what they will see. And then I'm going to add one more line. Here's my info. So first they see that ad screen, which we created prior to coming here. If they click on that get offer button that we chose to have, then they will see this screen. They will see, yes, I would like a hot list of Snellville homes for sale under $300,000. Here's my info, name, email, and phone number, which is what we chose to ask them for. All right, now we can go back to the thank you screen. So after they see this and they give us their information and they hit next, then they're coming to the thank you screen. By default, they have this message in here. We can leave it if we want. We can change it to something better if we want. And I'm just going to change to tap below. Your info has been sent to the Gary team. I didn't change that, but I did change tap below to get your free hot list now. And it gives me an option. I could make this a download and allow them to download the file. I could change this to say call the business, but I do want them to continue on to the website. This is controlling the buttons here. I'm just going to change this to say free hot list. Looks more enticing. And then the website link. So the website link, I want them, after they click this button, I want them to actually go to the place where they're going to receive this hot list. So now I'm going back to my client site, and I'm going to actually do the search as if I was a client so I can get the link. So I'm looking for Snellville, the city. Click on that. Beds, I'll put 1+ just because I don't want them to see land. Bathrooms, any. I know the maximum price is $300,000 because we're offering homes in Snellville under $300,000. I could leave the minimum off if I want it. I'll make it go to $75,000. And that looks like that's it. And I'm going to click search. So right now, I should see homes in Snellville that are under $300,000 but above $75,000. And since we said under $300,000 in this case, I want them to see the higher price houses first. So these houses are under $300,000. I switched it to show the price from high to low. So as you can see, we have homes in Snellville that are under $300,000. So now I have the link that I want. This is where they should come. This is where they're going to get their free list of houses in Snellville for sale under $300,000. So now I'm just going to copy that URL. Going to come here where the website link is required, and I'm going to paste that URL. Now when they click on this button, they'll come to this page, and they will actually receive what we have offered them in exchange for their contact information. And that is basically the form. Let's look at it one more time. We changed the settings to be open. We turned off the intro. We chose the questions of what we wanted to collect. We reiterated our message. We put in our privacy policy, and we selected the last message they see as well as the landing page. At this point, I'm good to go. I'm going to click save, or I'm going to click finish. I could click save, but I'm finished at this point, so I'm going to click finish. I get all checks, which means I'm good to go. And now we see here we have Snellville under 300,000. So now over here you can see that too. So at this point, now I'm basically finished. So over here you can see we went through all the steps. We chose the campaign, we chose the ad set that had all the budget and the audience and the placements, and now we've created the ad that has what they actually see, has our video or our picture that we have chosen with the advertisement, the words, and what they actually get. And that's going to be it for this one. This is asking me, do I want to set up any of these things? In this case, I don't. If you don't have a Facebook pixel and you're doing advertising like this client of mine, you should get a Facebook pixel installed on your website, which will give you much more insights from Facebook's about your advertisements. And it will also allow you to create new audiences to advertise to. For example, when you have a pixel installed, you can create an ad for people who have visited your website, or for people who have visited a particular page on your website, or for people who have filled out a form on your website, or whatever. All right, I'm going to click confirm. At this point, I'm finished with one of my 2 test ads. And here it says it's in draft. And all ads have to be approved by Facebook. So that's the phase that it's going to go to now. See here, it's switched to in review. All right, so now I want to create this test ad. This test ad, I already know, is extremely similar to my Snellville ad. So right here, I just switched from looking at the campaign view to looking at the ad set. So let me explain that. So here I have these different campaigns. This is the campaign I just created. These are previous campaigns that were already here. I'm only interested right now in seeing the ad set for the campaign that I just created, because I'm about to create another lead ad, so I don't have to recreate another campaign, because all of the lead ads that I want to create can be under the same lead campaign. So I'm selecting this campaign. I'm coming over here to switch to show me all the ad sets within that campaign. So that shows me the one that I just created, the ad set that I just created. And what I want to do is I want to duplicate it. I could start from scratch, but as I said, I know that much of this here is going to be the same as this ad. So I'm just going to duplicate it. Here it's asking me, do I want to do an original campaign, which I don't. I want to create one into the existing campaign. So I selected that. Number of copies, 1. And this doesn't matter at this point because there is no engagement on the ad yet. It's not even active at this point. So I'm going to click duplicate. So now it has created a duplicate ad of the one that I had just created. But of course I don't want the same ad. I just did this so I can make changes and create my test ad. So we're doing Snellville, Grayson, and Loganville. So I said we're going to test 2 at the beginning. So now I'm going to choose either Loganville or Grayson as my test ad. I'm going to make this reflect that. So here I'm going to go Loganville, for instance. Loganville hot list. The page is the same, so I don't want to change that. The budget is the same, so I don't want to change that. Now remember, my client's budget is $5 a day or $150 a month. So that $250 with the other $250 from the other test ad equals that $5. Start date. And now we're to the audience, which should be the same. So I'm not going to change the audience here. I'm just going to make sure that it is the same as it was, which it is. I'm not going to change the placements. In fact, that's all I'm changing in the ad set version was the name, and just everything else I'm just checking because my audience and everything else, my budget stayed the same. So at this point, I'm going to click to go to the ad section of this. Again, the name is the same as the other one, which I don't want. We made Loganville. So the ad on this one is going to be called Loganville, under 300,000. This is my test ad. Picture's going to stay the same. The wording's going to stay the same except for the city that we're testing. So I'm going to delete Snellville Homes, and I'm going to put Loganville Homes. Free exclusive hot list of Loganville homes for sale under $300,000. Free exclusive hot list of Loganville homes. I don't know why that shows. There we go. Why that shows without the space, but now it does. I also want to make sure I change it in the headline, as you can see here at the bottom. So I'm going to change Snellville here also. Loganville homes for sale. And that could be a mistake that I did not put on the other one, so I want to go and double check that other one to make sure that it says Snellville Homes and not Snellville Home for sale. The offer button's going to stay the same. The form is not going to stay the same. So I want to create a lead form, and this is what I was looking for, duplicate. This time, just like the ad is very similar except a couple of things, so is the form is similar except for some things. So I'm going to duplicate a form, and I'm going to come here and look for the one I just created, which was Snellville under 300. I'm going to change the name. To Loganville under 300,000. Settings, just going to double check, make sure that's still on open. No intro. My questions will be the same, but this section here won't. So I'm just going to make sure I change out Snellville Homes for Loganville Homes. And just make sure it looks right. We still got the name, phone number, and email, so that section is good. Our privacy policy is the exact same. Same website, same business. Our thank you screen will look the same, but our link will not be the same. So the first time they were landed on Snellville Homes, this time we want them to land on Loganville Homes. So I'm going to type in Loganville. I'm going to look for city, which is at the top. I'm going to click that. Everything else should stay the same. Under 300,000. I don't want them to see anything under 75,000. And I'm going to click search. And then I'm just going to come down and double check to make sure that I'm seeing the correct houses. Loganville under 300,000. And it's still set on highest price to lowest price from last time, which is good. So at this point I have what I'm looking for. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it here. So now I have changed the form to be the correct form for this ad. I just might want to double check, look for any spelling errors, make sure I change the name, and we look good. So Loganville under 300K, I'm going to click finish, and it's going to save it. Okay, so now we should be finished with duplicating the ad. So now we just want to again double check our advertisement. This is what people will actually see. Make sure we changed it to Loganville Homes for sale under 300K. This is Loganville Homes for sale under 300K. Once we're satisfied that everything is good, we change the name and we're just gonna go to publish. So at this point, we should have our 2 test ads. So I'm going to close that. This has been published. So I'm going to close this. And then right now we can see that here, but I want to go back so I can see both. So I went, this is the ads. Remember those 3 parts of the ad? That's all these are. So campaigns, ad sets, and ads. When we created the ad, we had to go through each of these sections. When we're looking at the ads, we can look at them at any stage. So I was in ads. I'll just go back to ad set because I should be able to see the 2 ads now. And if we look here, we can see the Loganville hot list. We see the Snellville hot list. We see our budget. I want to go check the Snellville ad to make sure that it had that S on the homes. So when I select this, I can click on preview, and this will just show me the ad. See, here is what I was looking for, Snellville home for sale. I know that there's an error, so I'm going to go edit the ad. And I'm just going to go down to where the headline is, and I'm just going to throw an S onto Snellville Homes. We missed it the first time. Thankfully, we caught it the second time when we created the test ad, and now we updated it. So I'm just going to click publish now because I'm pretty sure that everything else was fine. So there you have it. At this point, we have created an ad. We've also created a test ad to test against it, because you should never create an ad without running a test. As I said in the beginning, my 3 T's of advertising are targeting, testing, and tracking. So we have done 2 of those, and we have to do 2 of those, or we should do 2 of those every time we create an ad. The final T, which is the tracking, we can't engage into that until after we have some data. And that means that's the results of the test. So I like to run ads on a test until they've been seen by 1,000 people. So we'll run this ad for potentially a week or so until each one has been seen by 1,000 different people, and then we will look at the results and we will choose at that point. And we'll choose based on the lead costs, which lead cost is the lowest, combined with which ad is bringing the client more appointments or more actual conversions of those leads. One more thing. So right now, if we just stop here, our leads will come to us on Facebook and on Facebook only. We want our leads to go to our CRM. So my client here, she doesn't want her leads to go to Facebook. She doesn't want to have to check Facebook every day. She wants her leads to come here where her CRM is, where she will be notified every time that a lead comes in. So for that, we either have to connect our advertisements, connect our Facebook ads to our CRM, which has limited options on which CRMs connect directly with Facebook, and which means it's likely that your CRM will not be there. And in that case, then you want to use software like Zapier. And basically what Zapier allows us to do is to send the leads from Facebook to wherever we want. In this case, our CRM. So that's it. I'm not going to go into Zapier because that could be a whole nother video. And this one was intended to show how to create the ads.